Alrighty. So here are my thoughts about season 2, episode 5 of Has Been Hotel. Just to get us started, I absolutely loved Alistair's manipulation of Vox because Alistair is still showing up as a mentor, true to his values of, hey, you are powerful enough, you should be doing this on your own, you still need a team, ha ha ha, kind of a thingy, where he is playing on Vox's insecurities, but he's doing it very cleverly, and Vox is not realizing that Alistair is actively manipulating him. And because it is such a fast paced thingy, Alistair being very, very clever, he's doing this right before he has to go on stage. So Vox is taking really quick decisions at this point in time. So he's not really paying attention to how Val is responding to his idea of maybe I should be the one to go, you and Velvet stay behind the curtains, make sure everything is fine. I'll be the one who represents us, kind of a thingy. And the thing is, both Val and Velvet are aware of the fact that, hey, he tends to show up as I am the one, trust me, I'm the one who's the most amazing person in the entire world, kind of a thingy. They are aware of that, but now he's taking actions as they are growing faster and getting better in their, intention of ruling heaven. As they are growing in their power, he is starting to push them back. So Val is noticing that. I feel like there is going to come a time in the show when Vox is going to end up being all alone, and that's what Alistair is kind of hoping. He knows that with Velvet and with Val, he is powerful. That's my theory, that he is aware of the fact that with Velvet and Val and his whole crew, he is really, really powerful. But if Vox ends up all alone, it will be very easy for Alistair to then go ahead and make a deal that is going to push him aside and win and get more power than what he had. And that's his whole game plan, right? To get more power. And Vox, honestly, when he made that deal, Vox should have had a second to think about. There was no rush, no hurry, but he was like, let's make this happen, kind of a thingy. So I feel like Vox was very impulsive in that, and that is something that we are seeing with a lot of characters, especially in this season. We see that with Charlie not listening to anything anyone is telling them. Like, Waggy keeps telling her, like, you need to pause, you need to stop and think about your actions. But she is not really focusing on all of that. She's not listening. She's jumping into the emotion, she's jumping into the action. And we have seen the repercussions of that in episode 3 and 4, as well as episode 5. But she doesn't see it yet, right? And we see that also with the angels. But before I go into that, I do have to say, I feel like just like Vox, I have a theory that Charlie is going to end up all alone. Right now, she has absolutely pissed off Angel, which I stand with my man. Angel was so right in getting pissed off with Charlie when she brought people who triggered him, kind of created an unsafe environment where he was judged. He was not feeling seen and heard, and she put Husk in danger by putting him on the train tracks. And I know it helped her kind of get an idea of what was possibly helping people redeem themselves, what helped Sir Pinches redeem himself. But she did put Husk in danger. So Angel Dust is kind of pissed off with her. Cherry Bomb is pissed off with her. Husk is kind of pissed off with her, or has good reason to. Now she's pushed away Waggy and she's pushed away Lucifer, which, oh my god, when she said that to her dad, which was like, you fuck everything up, dad, blah, blah, blah. I was like, girl, oh my god, look at that poor duck man. He is depressed. And you need to kind of pay attention. But also, obviously, it's not her thing to take care of her parent, but it did break my heart a bit. So I have a theory that by the end of season 2, even Charlie is also going to be the one who's kind of left all alone and has to deal with the consequences of her action. Moving on to the angels, it was absolutely hilarious when they came back with gift baskets to give to the sinners in hell, as a hey, sorry that happened, here you go. And while Sir Pentius's idea of saying sorry or starting with sorry was good, once again they're being very impulsive with the fact that let's jump into it, right? Like, there was zero planning. They were like, oh yeah, let's say sorry, let's go right now. And they met Charlie. They met Charlie, and Charlie was like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, this is perfect. Just tell everyone that Serpentius was redeemed, so they know that I was right, and the hotel works," kind of a thingy. And neither did they say that, but they just once again jumped right into it. They met one person who is kind of on their side, who has to be on their side right now, mostly because of the fact that she wants her hotel to work and she wants to redeem people, and it's so deeply connected to her own self-worth and making sure that Lilith is proud of her, but not really that deeply integrated into helping the sinners, actually, which she hasn't honestly done throughout this entire season. We haven't seen her actively working with the people, actively working with any of the sinners who are living in the hotel, who want to work on their redemption, right? Like, she's making Husk do it, she's making Angel Dust be there. Like, she is not actively taking part in it. She's making Waggy do it, but she's not actively taking part in the whole process. And so obviously I feel like Charlie is going to be like, "Yeah, let's go along, I'm fine with it, ha ha ha, you are sorry, really really glad." Like, her reaction when she thought that they weren't real was more honest, I felt, than her reaction when she realized that she was not hallucinating, and these angels were actively there right now. And with oh my god, I have to say, I absolutely loved uh, this was so hilarious. Waggy, when she talks to Lucifer, and she's like, "I could ask Alistair, but Alistair's not here." And the way Lucifer turns around, like, "I can be better than that man. I can be 400 times better than that man." It was honestly super hilarious. And what I absolutely loved was the serpent rotating around the tower when he goes to fight walks or like threaten walks, kind of a thingy. And the way works very quickly flipped the script, very quickly flipped the script, and he was like, "You see, they want to kind of like push us down, they want to oppress us. He's an angel, he wants to smite me." And then when the angels do come there, and he legit thinks that, "Oh my god, these people are going to smite me right now," was a pure comedy. But I love the way Vox is playing the game, but still being super dumb to Alistair's manipulation, right? I loved the callback of, "You know what, I am the motherfucking king of hell. Let's go. What do you think about it? Huh? I am the motherfucking king of hell." I absolutely loved that part of the whole conversation, of the whole fight. It was, or of the whole song. It was really nice. Ooh, I do want to say, I think the last thing that I want to say before we bring this particular review to a close was the fact that I don't really know where I stand with Charlie being like, "Oh my gosh, no, not the pictures," because Sarah has to see what her actions did, what her actions actually brought to the sinners of hell. Emily has to see that. Abel has to see that. That is the reality of what the demons and the sinners have been facing for 400 years. I think they said, yeah, for a really long time they've been facing those actions. And the way that Charlie was like, "Oh my god, no, not the pictures," kind of pissed me off, because you are the princess of hell. And while you might not really align with Vox's perspective on how to run things, because Vox's motivation is completely different. His motivation is to rule heaven, right? He is not really as focused on the sinners himself. His entire motivation is to rule heaven. He is a cult leader. He's manipulating the people. He's manipulating everyone around him. We can see that. We know that. But Charlie, as someone who wants to redeem the people, needs to be aware. I mean, and I think she is aware, but I feel like she needs to make the angels aware of the whole theory as well. She needs to make them realize that this is actually what's been happening here. That's kind of why I wanted to start the hotel, to actually redeem people. So instead of extermination being an option, sinners are getting redeemed. They get to go to heaven. Hallelujah. You win, I win, everyone wins, and the sinners win. But her just being like, "Oh no, not the pictures," kind of ticked me the wrong way. And if I was one of the sinners in hell, while I would not be completely on Vox's side, because once again, manipulation, I would kind of understand and agree with why he's doing what he's doing. Right? Like, I would get the big picture. It makes sense. He is doing the things that he is talking about the things that all these demons have experienced. And I think if Vox and Charlie were to join hands, which I know is not going to happen, and actively work on helping the sinners redeem themselves, it's going to be a really, really powerful thing. But I know it's not going to happen. But it could be, in an alternate reality, it could be something that would actually help the sinners a lot and help people a lot. But yeah, I loved when they showed the pictures, because the angels do have to realize what their actions led to. And Abel going back and it's like, what we saw down there, it was not chill. And Sarah being like, oh shit, those are the consequences of my actions. She just went into, they've declared a war on us. Like, yes, they have. Obviously, they've had a lot of time being oppressed. Why would they not declare a war on you? Did you think you'd go down there and everyone would be like, oh my gosh, the angels, they said sorry. Of course, we forgive them. Of course, they won't forgive you. Why would they forgive you? That's so dumb. And it's like, hey, you know what? And I think that's kind of what the show is trying to do as well. Like the theory of, there is often this narrative in a lot of stories that there are the good guys, and or there are people who are living in luxury and there are people who are poor. And so for the people who are poor to go into the space of luxury, they have to change everything about themselves, fundamentally change everything about themselves to get an opportunity to go to the other side and experience the luxury. Now I know that the people in hell are sinners. They have done really, really bad stuff. I get it. The people in heaven are extremely good. They've never done a single thing that was wrong. I get it. But that's the thing that they're trying to do, is like, you have to change everything about yourself. Or that's the thought process that I think Charlie has of, I need to change everything about these demons if I need to get them to get them to heaven. But what if hell could be a better place? What if hell could be something that, yes, you're punished, but you are actively working on the thing? And this is so similar to my thoughts on what I was saying earlier about Serpentius and the good place, bad place theory of, you know, you're in the bad place. You work on the things that led you to the bad place. Then you end up in the good place. And I think Charlie's Hotel can be the middle ground between hell and heaven. But I think it's going to take a long time to get to that point. So, yeah, I am excited. Let's see what happens next. Let's go.